in order to be the greatest women's player of all time. So here's the comp I will give. The most decorated women's basketball player of all time is Breanna Stewart. Breanna Stewart played 4 years at UConn. They won 4 national championships. She won Player of the Year 3 times. Her final 3 years there, DeMonze, they were 116-1. All right? So, how can anyone trump that? And the answer is, on a base level, you can't. But then I give you this piece of information. The year after Breanna Stewart left UConn, they went into the Final Four 36-0. Lost by 2 points in overtime in the Final Four to finish the year 36-1 without her. The year after that, they went into the Final Four 36-0. Lost by 4 points in overtime in the Final Four to finish the year 36-1. So they were 116-1 in her final 3 years. They were 72-2 in the next 2 years without her, and both of those losses were by a combined 6 points in overtime in the Final Four. Which is not to say Breanna Stewart is not arguably the GOAT, but
that team
the
was
context
amazing.
of the overwhelming juggernaut that UConn team had turned into, right? And so I watched the women's national championship game, and I asked myself this question. Is there a single player on Iowa, other than Caitlin Clark, that would get a single minute of playing time for South Carolina? My answer to that question is no. South Carolina went 9 deep, and if you were to stack up the 10 best players in that, on those two teams, it would be Caitlin Clark 1, and 2 through 10 would be South Carolina Gamecocks. You then add, there is then also this element of that so South Carolina in its last 81 games has won, or 82 games, maybe 80, I think it's 81 games, is 80-1, right? With 2 national championships. The one loss is to Caitlin Clark in Iowa in the Final Four last year when Caitlin dropped 40. In a weird way, DeMonze, I think her beating South Carolina hurt her in the GOAT discussion. Because had she lost that game and then lost to them in the national championship, as opposed to beating them and then losing to LSU, I think people would be like, well, South Carolina is on an 82-game winning streak. They've won 3 straight titles. No one was beating them. They're an overwhelming juggernaut. But because she pierced kind of their invincibility and then lost in the next round, I think some people will use that against her. Now, there is a give and take in everything. If she were on a better team, DeMonze, she probably wouldn't have the stats and the records that she has now. If it was a more well-rounded team. And so because of that, to me, and because there is no obvious, clear-cut, undoubted GOAT of women's college basketball like there is in men's college basketball, with it being Lou Alcindor, then Kareem. Because Cheryl Miller has obviously a super strong argument. Taurasi is the best player I had ever seen before Caitlin. Shamiqua Holdsclaw in the 90s. Breanna Stewart. All those people are, Maya Moore, they're all in the room, and Caitlin's in that room. I do ask this question. In my lifetime, have I ever seen a women's college basketball player better than Caitlin Clark? And the answer to that question is no. She's the best I've ever seen. And does that make her the GOAT? That's an argument for others to have.